Hello, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. This is Dr. Bhawani Adhikari. He has come today with the slides and video of Sastri first year and then even the this BBS second year of TU. And the title of the poem, it is a poem, and the title of the poem is The Parrot in the Cage. It is written by Leknath Paudel, Nepali poet. Okay, The Parrot in the Cage. The poem The Parrot in the Cage by Leknath Paudel is about inhuman act of the bird to the bird, a parrot, put in the prison of an iron-made cage. It is the voice of the parrot with God to release him from the agony and the physical torture that the bird has got in the cage. The last stanza of the poem utters, means speaks, the real and true inner voice of the bird against human beings. And the line is quoted like this: so long as on this wide terrestrial plane a single human being shall remain, O Lord, let not a parrot's life be given. Suddenly comes a sense to me, O heaven. This is a line quoted by the from the poem, and this is a request of the bird to the Lord, to the God. And this explanation, this line explains that the parrot does not wish to remain in this human land as long as a single man remains on the earth. Parrot wants to live on this land only without a single man. The parrot realizes the pain and suffering in the cage caused by the human beings for their pleasure and shows the tourist against the right of his life. The parents of the parrot and his friends are enjoying their life in the forest, as free as the wind, but the caged parrot has nothing more than to struggle to come out of the cage in vain, means meaninglessly, and to suffer. The parrot feels like a corpse, means dead body, and his spirit flies out, his soul flies out, but there is neither peace nor rest in his body. His fate has cheated, and he thinks that it is his destiny, means fate, to be so in the case. He does not have his relatives and friends to open up his heart about his agonies, means pain. His eyes are swollen, and he loves to go to his home. His home is the forest, to enjoy the wild fruits and to have a carefree life, but it has become just a dream. His dream has not become so successful in real life. He constantly wails, means regrets, cries, weeps, as his breast is broken with a sore heart, painful heart. He sees only the enemies all around him and regards himself as the poor child of the forest. Cool waters and cool shades of verdant wood, means beautiful green wood, and really delicious fruits to pick for food have become all those things as vanished dreams in his life. Vanish means disappear, gone dreams. These his dreams are not the true dreams. The cage of the parrot is narrow and feels hard to live in it. His wings and feet are cramped, right, in the cage. Sometimes the cramping cold and sometimes iron heat and full of children's noise torture him more and more. His tears pour down and crack and break his breast, and he is shocked by the survey of the sky from the cage. He wishes his death to come, but it does not come. His throat is dry, and he has a thirsty glance which look at the pot. Devoid of water means without water. The cage has become a kind of hell for the bird. Human beings are hostile to the bird, the parrot, right? In the poem, metaphorically, the poet himself feels to be caged within the country under the despotic, means tyrannic, right, dictator ruling system of the then ranas. The then means of the times ranas. He realizes being in the cage without freedom and human rights, working under the rana ruling system. Twice burn may refer to the birth of the speaker in the rural area, free of will, that is one birth, and the choice is the parrots of the forest, right? Is the just like the parrot, but his life in the city, especially in Kathmandu Valley, turned out as a case condition of the parrot for him. This is a second life. His wings of thirds and then speeds were tied, and he was without his own voice. In fact, it is a satire to the contemporary system in a disguised means different form so far. As a political symbol, the human souls got trapped in the contemporary ruling system, and the poet was rebel of it, right? In fact, this poem is a revolt against the Rana system from the point of view of the poet. The poet was born in outside the valley in Kaski. There was free and life for him. It was open, beautiful, with full of forest, with full of greenery scene outside in the Kaski district. But it was quite good life of the poet there. When he came in Kathmandu, for him this Kathmandu itself became a kind of cage, and he had to remain within the cage of Kathmandu Valley. And later he went in Banaras. He studied there and came back, and he started working in the office of Rana ruling system. And at that time he had to obey the rules and regulations of the Ranas. In fact, he was freedom fighter. He was fighting for the human rights and democracy. And Ranas were after him. He was sharply just looked after, and he was taken care. He was not allowed. He was suspected. He was always under surveillance, under watch by somebody else. And he had to be quite like the parrot in his life. And in fact, the poet's own experience of life of the dictator, despotic ruling system of the Ranas has been reflected in the poem in a different form. And the poet is speaking himself as the parrot. The life of the poet was similar to the life of the parrot. There is no difference between the life of the parrot putting in the cage and then the life of the poet working under the ruling system of the Ranas. This is the historical fact that the poet has brought in the form of the poem, and he has opened the reality, what sort of condition it was in the time of Rana's system, ruling system, before the birth of democracy. There was no human rights, nor peace, nor security, nor just friendly environment, but only despotic ruling system. He had to obey, he had to the command of the rulers, he had to be under the control of them. And for him, he thought that this life in working in the office, in especially Kathmandu Valley, in the capital of the country, was like a life of the case, is the parrot realized. And from the point of view of the parrots, another idea the poet has presented: human beings are the unkind, are the most unkind one, sinner. They are criminal from the point of view of animals, from the point of view of birds. And twice born child, that parrot means first he was the bird parrot is burned in the form of egg, and second he gets the life again. So this is a twice burn. And parrot is quite good. He has very good sound, very beautiful sound, good logic and speech. Because of that beauty of the sound and the logic, the parrot has been put in the case, in the iron case, and that is put in the form of the object as the attraction of the tourist. When the tourist, young children and other people come, and then the parrot is not given good food, that is third class rice is given, and parrot does not have any freedom to move his body. He is in a cramped condition, he is in a just difficult position to live inside the cage. And when it is cold, it is very cold, ice cold in the iron. When it is summer, it is too hot because of the sunlight to the iron, and the parrot had to struggle too much. And speaking, people used to come there, and they used to threaten, they used to just scold, and his fate was very tragic, and the parrot requests with the god not to give the birth of any birds like the parrots on this earth until and unless human beings are there. Single man is found on the earth because human beings are hostile. They are enemies of the parrot like birds. They keep the birds from the forest in the, bringing in the cage, and then that is the killing of human rights of the birds. That is not anything given for freedom, free life. His parents are and his friends are in the forest. Parents and his friends are in the forest. They are enjoying the beauty. They are enjoying liberty. They are enjoying freedom. They are enjoying forest fruits. They are enjoying the real free life outside. But this parrot is inside the cage, and that is a kind of sin, a kind of criminal activity that human beings have done. So the parrot finds that human beings are the greatest enemies of the birds and animals. So the life should be out of human beings for the animals and the birds in the earth if it is to be really free from any torture, pain, and suffering of other, especially human beings. That is why he requests with the God, pleads with the God not to give the life of the bird of parrot on the earth as long as there are human beings. And another one, the parrot wants to request the god to leave from the escape from the iron cage so that it would be better one. In another form, when the poet is there, from if we talk about the point of view of the poet, maybe his life inside the valley, inside the job, inside his talent, and because of his talent, because of his skill, because of his power of reasoning thought, he got the job, and it was a kind of curse. He was not having better life. He was just without his friends, without his parents, without his relatives, without his anybody else to express his pain and sorrow. So his condition of the life in the palace, in the office in Kathmandu Valley was no different from that of the parrot's life in the cage. So he has compared and contrasted his own life from the point of view of the parrots. In fact, his real inner thoughts are reflected through the thoughts of the parrot. Parrot is speaking about the pain and suffering and struggle and requesting the God not to have the life of the parrots on the earth as long as human beings are there is almost the inner voice of the poet. And it means there are human beings are cruel animal enemies, hostiles for the animals. In the same way, the rulers, dictators, despotic rulers, tyrannical rulers are same in the world. They are like human beings who are just enemies of common people. They do not give freedom, liberty, and then other things to enjoy as a democratic principles in the world. So the poet is just requesting to be free from these sort of injustice, inhuman activities in the world, right? This is all about in just short form of the poetry, and there are so many stanzas I have gone in the line, and you can understand it. अनि नेपाली little bit यो कविता लेखनाथ पौडेलले आफै प्यारोट भएर बोलिराखेका छन्। प्यारोटको भोइस नै लेखनाथ पौडेलको भोइस हो र लेखनाथ पौडेल कास्कीमा जन्मेका, त्यहाँ बाहिर हुँदा स्वतन्त्र आनन्द फ्री जिन्दगी बिताएका, काठमाडौँ भ्यालीमा आएपछि काठमाडौँ भ्याली नै एउटा खाल्डोको रूपमा, एउटा केजको रूपमा, एउटा पिञ्जडाको रूपमा चित्रण गरेर आफै पिञ्जडामा परेको फिल गरेको र राणाहरूको अन्डरमा काम गर्नुपर्दा उनलाई सबैतिरबाट नियन्त्रण गर्ने, हेरिने, खोजिने हुनाले उनलाई न तिर्खामा खान दिने, न पानी खान पाउने, न आनन्दसँगै नपाउने, न राम्रो खाना खान दिने, न डेमोक्रेसीको बारेमा बोल्न दिने, न साथीभाइसँग गफ गर्न दिने, केही गर्न नदिने हुनाले उनलाई नियन्त्रणभित्र राखेको हुनाले उनी आफैले प्यारोटको फिल गरेको महसुस गरेर आफ्नैले प्यारोट भएर प्यारोटको भोइसबाट बोलिराखेको एउटा कुरो। र संसारका सबै शासकहरू, निरङ्कुश शासकहरू भनेका यी सबै सामान्य मान्छेका एकदम समस्या हुन्, तिनीहरू चाहिँ शत्रु हुन्, तिनीहरू मुक्त नभइन्जेलसम्म यी सामान्य मान्छेको जिन्दगी आनन्द हुँदैन। तिनीहरूलाई चाहिँ गड प्लिज सकिदेऊ यो संसारबाट यी निरङ्कुशहरूलाई, अनि मात्रै अरू सामान्य मान्छेहरूले जिन्दगी पाउँछन्। एउटा उनको दृष्टिकोणबाट। अर्को एनिमलको दृष्टिकोणबाट, बर्डको दृष्टिकोणबाट हेर्दा बर्डलाई केजमा ल्याएर राम्रो गाउने, राम्रो बोल्ने त्यो रिजनिङ पावर, क्यापासिटी, लजिकको त्यो स्पिचको क्यापासिटी भएको हुनाले मान्छेले केजमा राखेर दुःख दिएर, पीडा दिएर, बच्चा बच्ची आएर उसलाई थर्काएर, हिर्काएर, पानी नदिएर, खान नदिएर, राम्रो कुरो खान नदिएर, यो गर्मीमा अत्यन्तै फलाम तातेको ठाउँमा राखेर, चिसोमा अत्यन्तै कठाङ्ग्रीमा राखेर, पखेटाहरू पुरै कठाङ्ग्रिएर कुचुक्क परेर बस्नुपर्ने, उठ्न नसक्ने यस्तो अवस्था प्यारोटको भएको हुनाले, अनि यो प्यारोटले नै आफै गडलाई बाबा संसारमा एउटा मान्छे रहन्जेलसम्म प्यारोटको जन्मै नदिनु, किन भन्दा यो प्यारोटले गर्दा नै यस्तो मान्छेको कारणले गर्दा नै प्यारोटहरूको जिन्दगी नर्क जस्तै भयो, यो मुक्ति देऊ भनेर गडसँग अनुरोध गरेको भनेर यसरी प्यारोटको पोइन्ट अफ भ्यूबाट त्यहाँ माथि कविले राजनीतिलाई, राजनीतिक सिस्टमलाई, एउटा त्यति बेलाको राणाहरूको रुलिङ सिस्टमको भित्रको पीडालाई विद्रोहको रूपमा यसरी प्रस्तुत गरेका छन्। दिस इज short form in Nepali, and detailed form of Nepali, okay, in English can be better to read the lines and understand it. Perhaps it is meaningful and useful for the readers to read the lines